Now let's take a look at the issues of zoning in the forthcoming general elections. Yes, that topic that just refuses to go away. While the opposition People's Democratic Party has jettisoned the idea and thrown open the ticket. In the ruling All Progressives Congress, which way will it go? That's a question. Well, for more on this, I'm being joined by Edozie Ezeugwa, who is the President General and leader of the Eastern Union Congress. And I have also been joined by Professor Charles Nwekeaku, the Secretary of the Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. Thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us. Of course, Ezeugwa, you've been with us in the last half hour. Yes. Let me begin with you. Zoning and party politics. I read a piece today that talked about the demonization of zoning. Would you say that, zoning is getting a bad rap all of a sudden? Is the call for zoning, is it waning? Is it gaining momentum?
Thank you so much. Well, there is an adage that when you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name just to hang it. People who are now trying to criticize zoning actually benefited from zoning. Nigeria, we know, is a federation. There was no time the nationality that made up Nigeria came together and resulted to be Nigeria. Nigeria first through amalgamation. But even at that, in order to survive as a country, Nigeria has also made zoning as a part of its constitution. If you get 1979 constitution, also get 1999 constitution, section 14, subsection 3. It's very clear. It says that government of the federation and its agencies, in whatever they do, should reflect the federal character of Nigeria in order to give every section a sense of belonging. This is fundamental. It is there. And the other part, even political parties derive their constitution from that topic. The other one is a substantive constitution. Right,
but that aspect that you quote of the constitution actually addresses federal character.
Yes.
And zoning is the derivative of federal character.
Zoning.
But some would argue that zoning, after all, zoning is not in the 1999 constitution, neither is it in the Electoral Act. So why the hula baloo about zoning?
No, that is section. It talks about federal character and quota system. Another name for it is zoning, because the constitution doesn't say zoning, but that federal character and quota system actually covers zoning. So for any person to jettison, and if you look around, you see that that very section has actually tried to give every section of the country a sense of belonging. For example, when you go to JAMB, you see that the admission cutoff is not the same thing for all the states of the federation. A number of people in the southeast, you see them scoring 260, 270, they're not giving admission. But you see somebody scoring 120 from another state getting admission. Recruitment, the same thing. Promotion into the civil service, because a friend of mine was a deputy director. He joined and interviewed a young man. He remained on a deputy director. That young man became a director before him in the federal public service. It's as a result of that section. Now, people are now coming now to tell you that zoning doesn't arise again. Yet, those people benefited from it.
Okay,
Let them delete section 14, subsection 3. Then we know that they are serious. So you cannot continue to change from time to time. When it pleases you, you apply federal character of quota system. When it doesn't favor you, you jettison it. I mean, it is wrong.
Let me bring you in here. I mean, based on what the prof has just said, federal character and zoning and all of that, would you say it has even helped us? Has it served Nigerians well? When you look back since 1999, when the PDP decided to go the way of zoning in the name of justice, fairness, and equity, and giving a sense of belonging to every part of the country, has it really served Nigeria and Nigerians, would you say? In all honesty, that we will continue to clamor for it.
Thank you so much. You know, one thing with Nigerians is that when it pleases them, when they have some advantage, they now sing praises for that. When they now begin to see that there is possibility that they will not have advantage, they can now go to the top to, demonize whatever. But the fact remains that, let me, be very frank to you. What is playing out today is a kind of action that propelled the 1966 and 1967 Civil War. Politicians are behaving as if to say that Nigeria is their private enterprise company. Decide that the country is not run by law. There's nothing whatsoever. What leads to this zoning? To the extent that the party, PDP, has to capture it in their constitution, was as a result of somebody won an election, then you decided to cancel that election with such kind of impunity. And the nation was going through all kinds of traumas and crises.
Don't you think it's because zoning, so that we can maximize the time, we have barely 20 minutes to go.
Okay.
Don't you think zoning, maybe at the time in 1999 when the PDP came up with it, served a purpose?
Yeah.
Is it a vehicle now that has outlived its purpose?
Not at all.
In a way that the PDP, what the opposition PDP
not
is now
at all.
saying,
the understanding was
jettison it.
On the understanding, don't forget the fact that 1994 Constitutional Conference, led by Abacha, that the issues of zoning was captured there. Within 6 geopolitical zones, just what is the purpose of it? Just to make sure that other ethnic nationalities are on board in terms of governance, in terms of anything whatsoever.
And the benefits of governance.
And yes, benefits of governance. So now, after that 1999, elections, PDP went forward to make sure that they capture it, so that this thing would be rotating. And the understanding was there that it should be in that way. That is why it's in their constitution. So you don't have to now change the goalposts
in the middle of the game. That point has been well made. But there are those who are saying, especially within, let's narrow it down to the two political parties, the governing APC, and of course the opposition PDP. Only recently, I mean, we know that Orji Kalu, for example, former governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Kalu, had shown interest in going for the presidency, only to withdraw. And he was accused of betraying the Southeast, by none other than the respected elder statesman Edwin Clark, that he's betraying the cause for the Southeast presidency by supporting, his pair, in the person of the Senate President Ahmed Lawan. And his response was, look, it's not a betrayal. The point is, right now in Nigeria, for the Southeast to actually gain any headway, to get that ticket for 2023, it has to be based on a gentleman's agreement. And some go further by saying that, look, if you had a situation where either party presented a northern or a southern candidate, if the PDP, for example, presented a northern candidate, the chances are that it would win. That seems to be what's playing out. Do you agree with this line of thought?
I do not agree with him. Before I go into that, we are talking of that zoning was fashionable before. Even now. But how did Senator Abdullahi Adomo emerge as the national chairman of APC? It was as a result of zoning. This is current. How did Senator Ayu emerge as the national chairman of PDP? It's as a result of zoning. It was that position was zoned to North Central. So any person telling you that it's outdated is economical, is not honest. That person is not honest. So zoning is still even it's as a result of zoning that the present executives of both PDP and APC came on board.
Right, but can the Southeast or any other region for that matter?
No, let me go to what you say about Orji Kalu. Of course, the Igbos are not happy with his stand.
Well, this is not about him.
Yes.
He just made a statement.
His analysis
that there is a need for a gentleman's agreement.
His gentleman agreement. Was there any gentleman agreement when other aspirants were asked to step down for North Central? Eventually, Abdullahi Adomo emerged. Orji Kalu should tell us the kind of gentleman agreement that was reached. He should also tell Nigerians the kind of gentleman agreement that was reached before Senator Ayu become the national chairman of PDP. There was no gentleman agreement. What is he saying? Is he saying that the Southeast is incapable of producing a presidential material that will win an election? It is not true.
I'm not sure that's his point, but his point seems to be, look, if that is to happen, if it's to be a reality for a Southeasterner to gain, to clinch the ticket, there has to be consultation. Maybe that's another word for gentleman agreement.
Consultation. He's not a political scientist. His analysis is flawed. His analysis is flawed. It lacks logic, it lacks facts. It's not derived from any logical conclusion. As a matter of fact, the Southeast, if you have a candidate from Southeast, can win election. Because Southeast, as a matter of fact, the Igbos are over 40 million in Nigeria. And if you go to any state of the Federation, go to Lagos, for example, Igbos constitute about 40% of the electorate in Lagos. Go to any state you go, remove the indigenes, Igbos come next. And Ojo Okala and his colleagues will see this time that Igbos have voting power. So that whoever is saying that taking a candidate from Southeast will not win is not factual. That person is not talking from facts. Facts available to us is that if the Igbos are mobilized, as we are going to do, they will decide who become Nigerian president.
Speaking of mobilization, I know that the Ohaneze Ndibo and generally Ndibo in the Southeast have been holding consultations. They've been holding these large meetings. One happened in Enugu, I think another one in Delta or so. And my thinking is, it seems to be a case of preaching to the converted. Shouldn't these consultations be across the Niger, like we say, go to the north, Ohaneze Ndibo going to the north, and all others who are clamoring for presidency to go to the south, especially the southeast in 2023. Shouldn't that be the strategy? Do you think the strategy that's being, displayed right now is working?
Well, let me be very, very frank with you that consultation started early enough, about a few years ago. We've been going both west, south, north, entire north. I've been going, and up till now, as I'm talking to you, the consultation continues, So it's only when people made up their mind what they want to do, they were trying to find one reason or the other to make sure that they give to people just to, achieve their purposes. In terms of consultation, we have saturated Nigeria, all corners of Nigeria with consultations. Then, in terms of winning election, and population and the rest of them, I will refer you to INEC. If I have known, I would have come here with it. Refer you to the voting pattern. 2019, you can see the Igbos, the number of the Igbos voting strength. All over Nigeria, you can see that Igbos can give 10 million votes.
Yeah,
and when somebody now opens his mouth and starts saying that they cannot, in terms of quality, in terms of capacity, in terms of anything whatsoever, Igbos came out in those days, early days, and fought for the independence of Nigeria. Where are those people?
I don't want us to lose sight of the issues. No doubt that the Southeast has excellent, stellar talents that can deliver. But the question is, can the Southeast, or any other part of the country for that matter, deliver, get that ticket without the other sections of the country?
Let me tell you something.
And shouldn't what is at the topmost mind of those who are carrying out these consultations be, how do we reach out to others to be on the same page with us?
Let me tell you something, because
I've been in the field. So that I can have Prof.
I've been on the field for long. Let me tell you something. I was thinking that after the Civil War, that the war has ended completely. But it does appear with the attitudes. Right from 1970 to today, there has high level of conspiracies against whenever somebody is from the Southeast. High level conspiracies in all corners. And we have been living with it. The Southeasterners, the Igbos have been, using their blood to make sure that they stabilize Nigeria. They'll be
But conspiracy on whose part?
And conspiracies
to what end?
Looking at some people, somebody from the Southeast as a threat. That's been all. So, and let me now tell you, in any way you do it, they will always find any reasons to give.
Right. Prof.
Yes.
There is a huge dilemma, definitely.
As a matter of fact, the Igbos have been reaching out more than any other group in Nigeria has done in the past. In 1999, when the major party ceded presidency to the Southwest, they didn't do any consultation. They didn't reach out. But we felt that Southwest had been shortchanged by the annulment of June 12 election, believed to have been won by Chief M.K. Abiola. The Southwest didn't come to meet us. But we felt that a great injustice had been done. They were compensated. Right. Apart from that, even before that time, there had been one compensation. The others don't usually go up. But this time around, you have already said here, you see that Chief Edwin Clark, he's not an Igbo, from South-South, has said, look, this time he has to be zoned to the Southeast. You also see that Chief Aya Adebanjo, he's not an Igbo, right. Southwest, said that this position should be zoned to the Southeast. You also said that the leader of Middle Belt, Dr. Potus Bogo, has also said, zone this presidency to the Southeast. So there are other people from even North, Yakase, Galadima, of course, and the number of others. So any person telling you that the Igbos haven't reached out is economical with words. The Igbos have been reaching out.
Now that the PDP, let me ask both of you, yes, gentlemen, now that the PDP has thrown the field open, then let the best man win.
Yes.
That's on the one hand.
Yes.
But I'd like to get your comments too, or your thoughts on the fact or the seeming, situation where it looks like culture, religion, and outlook plays a huge role in the voting pattern. Yes. And that might be what we will see again in 2023.
Yes.
What do you think about those both situations?
Well,
PDP throwing its party
in the first place.
Of course, the APC is in a dilemma
for PDP to do that, it's a great injustice to the Southeast. Southeast, as a matter of fact, has been consistent with the PDP. Southeast is like an oxygen that has sustained PDP. Check, all through since 1999, Southeast has remained with PDP. That's why the fact that an illustrious son of Southeast, the late Dr. Alex Ekweme, was instrumental in the formation of PDP. He was the one who organized Group of 34 that eventually metamorphosed into PDP. He was denied the opportunity. When he was set to pick that ticket, he was denied it. And this time around, Southeast have been trying. So, as a matter of fact, this time, you see that all they are saying, this, is just to deny us that opportunity. Because structurally, we are in a disadvantaged position. You know that when Nigeria started, by independence, we have 3 regions. Western region, Eastern region, Northern region. Today, we have 36 states and FCT. One region, Northern region, now has 19 states, plus FCT, 20. So, you see that former Northern region has 59 senators. House of Rep, the same thing. Local government, the same thing. More than the previous 2 regions put together. So, structurally, and you know that we are talking of delegate election, the Southeast are in a disadvantaged position. So any person telling you that he has thrown it open is deliberately trying to make sure that Southeast doesn't pick the ticket.
PDP's argument, for example, very quickly, we have less than 2 minutes. PDP is saying, for zoning, it seems to be from the action that zoning, as far as they're concerned, is a party issue and not necessarily a national issue. Should zoning be a party affair or a national matter? Is that how we should, treat the issue of zoning? What's your thought on that?
No. Like I said before, there is reasons why the zoning was first of all introduced to the party, process, because there are certain section of Nigeria today, the minority, if you call it, who would have not tested the power. Through the zoning and understanding, the good luck came in and becomes the president and the left. So, as a result of that June 12, that's where they have that gentleman's agreement.
Right.
That for purpose of inclusiveness, allowing other ethnic nationalities to be the part of the process, that they will have to introduce the zoning. And it should be between North and the South. Now, when it goes to any of the, maybe regions, they decide. For instance, when it comes to the South, we decide which of the zone that have not, so they can be able to micro-zone it.
Is this where the gentleman's agreement is needed desperately?
It's needed, because one is that after the total distance, we have about 6 geopolitical zones. On that 6 geopolitical zones, when they must have completed it, you can now decide whether it's good, acceptable, whether it's okay for the elective offices and so far. But if a situation where you have done first, second, and third, you benefited on it, now you are now saying that it's going to be destined, that it can no longer be useful. It's not just changing the goalposts at the middle of the game, and nobody will accept that. If they feel that people from the Southeast cannot do anything or whatever, let them watch out and see what's going to happen. That should be the end of the PDP, as far as our concern.
Well, in the APC, you have Southwest aspirants coming out in their large numbers. Are they betraying the issue of the Southeast getting it for 2023 in 30 seconds?
Well, first, the issue you raised
in 30 seconds.
Yes. You see that Constitution is a substantive matter. When you talk of sources of law and policy, Constitution. So, because it's substantive, it is superior to party constitution, which actually derives its existence from the Constitution. Okay. Therefore, it is binding on the parties. And still, it is because of that substantive nature of the Constitution that made both APC and PDP to zone the national chairmanship position to North Central. So, they are not honest. So, this thing, there's not an issue of gentleman agreement doesn't arise.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Edozie Ezeugwa, President General and leader of the Eastern Union Congress, thank you so much for joining us. And Professor Charles Nwekeaku, Secretary of the Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. Thank you both gentlemen for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow. From me, Ngozi Alibu, and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thanks for watching.